Frailty. Thy name is woman. Was William Shakespeare It's a question that has followed the world's most famous playwright for centuries. Why do so many of his plays feature women suffering, being silenced, or meeting tragic ends? Is Shakespeare guilty as charged? Or is there more to the story than we think? Let's find out. First, what does misogyny actually mean? It's the hatred, distrust, or disrespect of women. Shakespeare is often accused of it because some of his male characters say absolutely terrible things about women. But here is the key question. Do the words of a fictional character reflect the author's own beliefs? Let's look at the evidence for the prosecution. Many of Shakespeare's most famous male characters express incredibly harsh views about women. Hamlet, in a moment of despair, famously declares, "Frailty, thy name is woman." In Othello, the deep-seated belief that women are inherently unfaithful leads directly to the heartbreaking and unjust death of Dead. And what about the women themselves? Characters like Ophelia in Hamlet, Cordelia in King Lear, and the aforementioned Desdemona are often portrayed as obedient, powerless, and ultimately victims of the men around them. Their suffering is intense, and their voices are often suppressed. When you see these patterns over and over, it's easy to see why people would label Shakespeare as misogynistic. But before we reach a verdict, we have to consider the world Shakespeare lived in. This is crucial. Shakespeare was writing in the Elizabethan and Jacobean eras, a time that was deeply patriarchal. Women had virtually no political or legal power. They couldn't vote, own property in their own right after marriage, or pursue most professions. Society expected them to be silent, obedient, and subservient to their fathers and husbands. So, when Shakespeare portrays a world dominated by men where women suffer, he isn't inventing a misogynistic fantasy. He's holding a mirror up to the reality of his time. His plays were a reflection of the society he lived in, not necessarily a personal endorsement of its values. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin, because this is where it gets really interesting. For every oppressed female character, Shakespeare also created some of the most powerful, intelligent, and fiercely independent women in all of literature. Think of Portia from The Merchant of Venice, who uses her incredible wit and legal genius to outsmart every man in the courtroom. Or Beatrice from Machado, about nothing, whose sharp tongue and bold spirit are more than a match for anyone. There's also Rosalind in As You Like It, who confidently takes control of her own destiny. And of course, the ambitious and formidable Lady Macbeth. These women are anything but frail or silent. They challenge male authority, defy expectations, and drive the plot forward with their own choices. Here's another critical point. Who are the characters spouting these misogynistic ideas? They're almost always deeply flawed, broken, or tragic men. Hamlet is emotionally unstable and spiraling into madness. Othello is consumed by a jealousy so intense that it destroys him. King Lear's arrogance and poor judgment lead to his own downfall. Their hatred and mistrust of women don't bring them success. It leads directly to chaos, tragedy, and their own destruction. This strongly suggests that Shakespeare isn't promoting misogyny. Instead, he's exposing it as a destructive and dangerous force. He's showing his audience the terrible consequences of a world that devalues and oppresses women. So, was Shakespeare a misogynist? No. At least not in a simple way. He was definitely not a feminist by today's standards. But he was a brilliant observer of human nature and society. He created a complex world that showed both the harsh realities of female suffering under male dominance and the incredible strength women possessed in spite of it. He doesn't just present misogyny. He critically examines it. Shakespeare doesn't silence women. He makes us question why they were silenced in the first place. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into literature. See you next time.